Shame, shame, shame. What a crying shame that we feel so ashamed about our sensitivity. Hello, gentle souls. Before we begin today's video, I want to extend my sincere appreciation for all your support in my channel and your deeply relatable comments. You make this channel feel like a true tribe and a community where we can safely discuss the HSP personality trait without guilt or shame. So thank you. That brings me back to today's subject, shame, not to be mistaken for guilt. Guilt says something about your actions, but shame says something about your entire being. Think back for a moment to the very first time that you experienced shame. Chances are that it's still a vivid memory, even though it was a very long time ago. For me, it was in pre-K when my curiosity prompted me to pull on a boy's curly hair and I had to stand facing a wall for the remainder of recess. So why is shame such a powerful emotion? And how is it different for the HSP? HSP's term coiner, Dr. Elaine Aron, reasons that highly sensitive persons experience shame more profoundly, which is to be expected considering that we feel everything more deeply. But also, because of our sensitivity, we're more aware of what will cause us shame because we think so many steps ahead all the time. So we're extra cautious about avoiding it. So overall, it plays a bigger role in our lives. Elaine Aron writes that shame is an emotion like fear or grief. It is perhaps the most painful feeling there is, given that it is registered in the brain like strong physical pain. Let's break that apart for a moment. What does shame feel like? It often feels like we want to hide or disappear, like we will never recover or save face, like we are doomed for good. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Of course, we can rationalize it as Dr. Aron does, by pointing out that shame serves to keep us in good standing with our community. While growing up, it's the adults who cause us to feel shame. But as adults, we do it to ourselves. From a survival perspective, this is a necessary trait to prevent us from being banned from our group for bad behavior. So even though shame can feel devastating, it has its value. Because shame is so painful, we make sure to avoid situations that cause it. And that's where it comes to bite us in the glutes. We monitor our behavior to such an extent that it robs us of spontaneity, even prompting us to become disingenuous. We're so preoccupied with other people's perceptions of us that we play into what we think they want us to be or do, and we lose ourselves in the process. Especially because there is so much in society that we can allow ourselves to feel ashamed about. Like not being truthful, or not looking or dressing like the majority, not being as successful, being too emotional, not dressing appropriately for an event, feeling like you're not intelligent enough, addictions, sexual inclinations, laziness, just to name a few. You know, in writing the script for this video, I got a little sad because I realized just how much I had been shorting myself. I never realized that shame played such a big role in why I've always felt so self-conscious. I'm hyper aware of how I move my arms when I'm in a conversation and what the expression on my face must be looking like. Being that aware of yourself makes it very hard to just be present in the moment. So how can we live our lives freely, unrestricted by the overwhelming bounds of unnecessary shame? It's easy to say, just get over it and stop caring what people think. But we all know how well that works. I will refer back to Elaine Aron's advice here. She urges the HSP to dive deep into their shame. When did you first feel it? Who prompted it? What emotions or behaviors are most shameful to you? Then think about how you have adapted your life around these shames. How has it restricted you? The more you understand your shame, the more you can release its hold on your life. Sometimes as humans, we may have impulses that we shouldn't act on because they would harm others. Most of us have these impulses, whether we care to admit it or not. There is no need to feel shame about having the thoughts, because you can just let it float on by without acting on it, and honor the thought as a part of the human experience, without judgment. And be grateful that you have the strength not to act on it. When people catch me in a shameful blush, I get even redder because my shame has been discovered. Of course, talking about it can feel very unnatural and intimidating. But if you have a trusted person that you can confide in, it might be worth the risk, because it might just lift some shameful weight off of your shoulders. There's no need to feel ashamed for feeling shame. That's just a vicious downward spiral you don't need to get caught in. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but when you talk about something that you had previously kept all to yourself, it loses its weight when you shine light on it. This is often why murderers end up confessing. But I digress. So let me ask you, what role has shame played in your life? Let me know in the comments if you're struggling with it or how you've overcome its hold in your life. Thanks for tuning in, and I wish you a shame-free day. And of course, do subscribe and activate that bell if you don't mind being notified of my next video. Te auro!